So, we're going to fire some shots here, and I'm going to reload, and we're going to jump on that ladder, and we'll have some fun. There we go. So you can hear that the reloading audio just loops, and as best I can tell, this only happens with the shotgun and shotgun weapons, with a couple different variants. And it does not happen in the original Left 4 Dead, so such you should know. And if you come out here, it is possible in Left 4 Dead 2, if you want to skip this section, by taking much, much longer. Hold on, I have to save my team, as always. Really? Wait for my team to save me. Come on, guys. Bill. Seriously. Okay. So, in Left 4 Dead 2, it is possible to get up here and melee this barrel and kind of get it over in that direction. And you can get it over to here, and then you can hop up on the box and on this pallet and go straight to the safe room. I'm not going to bother to show that to you, to be honest, because while you can do it, it takes longer than just going over there. And in Left 4 Dead 1, they don't really move, because you kind of have to teleport them a little. So I could melee it from here and teleport it into the nether. I think it goes into these pallets, but I can never find it. But for funsies, oh wow! Alright, so for the first time ever, it didn't go through the wall. So let's see if it's going to make a liar out of me. This is ridiculous. I promise you this works every single time when I'm not recording. Let's try this again. That's awesome. Alright, come on buddy. There we go. Really? Well, that's embarrassing. I promise you, if you go home and try this, it'll phase through and it'll roll around on that floor. I suppose you'll have to take my word for it. I'm gonna shoot it out through these this fence here, just to make myself feel better. I'm just going to leave in shame, is actually how this is going to go down. We're just gonna leave. So, alright. We're gonna limp. So many specials.
Nice shot.
I would love a horde. Is there a horde? I'd like for one of these windows to break, because if you get back far enough in the level, like on the other side of that room, halfway down or so, there's walls outside, but if you get far enough back, it doesn't render the walls, and you just see through to the skybox, which I'll show that to you in case that happens, but it's an LOD issue, so I'm not really going to be too worried about showing it. Why do they always come from the wrong side? So, anyway. And lastly, I believe, if you look down there, you can see... Seriously. I'm just going to stand in the acid. No, I'm going to move before I die. That hurt worse than I thought. Okay. So you can see that there's actually not a wall over there. You can see through skybox. And I would complain. You don't have to... Oh, hey! Since we're here. Alright, so just gonna hop on back here and wait for it. Wait for it. It's not what I wanted you to wait for. Somebody. This is absurd. Thank you. Someone pick me up.
I'm fine.
Thanks, Francis. What are you doing? He pointed his air gun at me. Bastard. Okay. Smoke a little cough. Alright, so it's more than halfway down, I lied. There we go. You gonna heal me or you're just gonna stare at me? Get out. So, there's a wall, and
Francis.
That's just how it goes. Alrighty. So I do believe that's all I had to show you. That's all I found so far. And I would quibble that if you look down there, there's no bricks on the carts. Because when you start the next level... What? This is retarded. When you start the next level, there's a pallet of bricks there, and there's a bunch of stuff in that area that's not there in this level. But I'm not going to get too hard on you for that. Alright. So before any more tragedy happens, I'm just going to shut this door. And let's see if there's anything on this screen that I need to tell you about. Okay, I'll have to do it through pictures, I suppose. So anyway, that was the first level of the sacrifice in Left 4 Dead 2. Oh, here it is. So this adrenaline syringe is just a picture of a regular syringe instead of the one that is actually used in-game, like the EpiPen type device. And I realized that in the icons and stuff, like you would use a syringe like that for visual shorthand, like that's just iconography for a syringe. Like you know what that is, it's easy to read. But everything else in these tips is just always the actual item from the game. So I was very surprised that you didn't use the kind of an EpiPen whatever. I don't know if you didn't get the art for that in time or what, but thanks, Francis. So I do believe that's it. So we're just going to exit here. And I do have a screenshot to show you. Alright. And here, actually we have two screenshots for you. So this is the first. This tooltip you'll see is written in the third person for the first sentence and a half, and then switches to the second person at the very end. So a charger will not release a survivor once they have you pinned. So once you go down to the mat, then I guess they hold someone else for ransom, and then it becomes this whole hostage situation thing. So I probably should all stayed third person. It was really weird to read the first time. And then here we'll have to do a little bit of flicking back and forth like that. But this is the No Mercy loading screen from Left 4 Dead 1, as you can tell. And then down here, Left 4 Dead 2. The difference here is that Left 4 Dead 1 is much crisper and cleaner and very detailed. And then Left 4 Dead 2 is very muddled, blurry, as far as the poster image goes. And I'm not sure why that is. So if you'll check, especially Bill's face is a really good example. You can also tell it in Lewis's eyes and kind of Francis, especially around his head. But mostly Bill's face, so keep an eye out. So you can see definitely in Bill's eyes, and the definition of the wrinkles around his face is so much cleaner up here. And I've noticed this isn't just in No Mercy, which I could have understood, you know, being designed, made in Left 4 Dead 1, then ported over to Left 4 Dead 2. Maybe the image just didn't copy over or got resized, whatever. But in the Sacrifice, which I would have assumed was made for Left 4 Dead 2 in mind and then ported to Left 4 Dead 1 for lack of a better phrase, the same thing happens. Like if you compare the screenshots and the posters, it's the same issue. So just thought that you guys would like to be told that. And since we're here, I forgot to mention this earlier, I was on a Windows XP machine and then got an SSD, put Windows 7 on, went to play Left 4 Dead 2, and it loaded. You know, I got the intro movie, which I skipped. I got the silhouettes of the 4 survivors. And then when it would open the menu, I just crashed the desktop. Got an error sound. No boxes, no notifications, nothing like that. So I had to Google, and I found this site. And if you scroll down here, problem number 4, possible solution 1, worked. And I had to delete client and common.ncf, let those re-download. Then I had to wait 15 minutes while Steam verified my file integrities, even though I could have just told it it was fine and I couldn't skip it. But so it did that for me because, of course, I wanted that. And so it took me 15 minutes switching operating systems to play this. And so now, since I've got both those drives on my machine and I go between them, if I boot into XP, Left 4 Dead 2 launches, and it gets to the loading screen, and then it crashes, because apparently these two files really, really, really care about which operating system you're in. So if I ever want to play Left 4 Dead 2, I have to make sure I'm in Windows 7. So, other than that, I do have one more thing to show you, and for reals, I promise this will be the last one. But we're about to have another perspective shift. I'm going to have to switch to my Chroma digital camera, and I'll explain as we go. Alright, so I apologize for the quality of the camera, but it really was the best way to show this, and you'll see why in a moment. I'd like to take this time to point out the glows. That menu doesn't help me. The glows that cut off on the left-hand side. I don't know if this camera's good enough to see it, but if you really aren't aware and you want to check it out, you can go back to the beginning of the first part of the video. But on all the glows, Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 1, it cuts off very sharply on the left-hand side here. And then also on the right-hand side of these dialog boxes, if it touches the edge. I don't know why I keep going to achievements while I'm not thinking and trying to talk at the same time. But I'm sure you know about that. I just wanted to make sure I pointed it out because it's bothered me for 2.5 years now, however long Left 4 Dead's been out. So, anyway, the point of this particular video, the reason that we are recording on this camera, I just picked this level because it's the one I use, I don't know why, and Ellis because he's my favorite. So, this is the reason. So you can see it's loading, and once it gets to a third or the quarter of the way through, we Alt-Tab out, and we're just going to let it finish loading. And here you can see my desktop, my favorite quote/image of all time. It brings me joy, gives me strength to go on through the days. So we're going to let Left 4 Dead 2 load in the background, and we're going to pop it back open in a second. And we're going to see all kinds of texture memory issues. I tried to check this in Left 4 Dead 1, but it just crashes and gives you the finger. It doesn't really like being Alt-Tabbed and gone back into. Command-Tab if you're on a Mac, whatever. So, I'm going to check this out. And if we're really lucky, our smoke sprites and stuff like that will be super scaled down and they'll be on a sheet. Certainly you can see here transparency issues on the decals. Yes, alright. So there you can see that it comes out in a square pattern, each one of those. It's on a little puff of smoke. So transparency issues. And the crowning jewel of this is the drow zombies. So you can see they're all black with white hair and blazing red eyes, demonic evil fury. So pretty awesome, good times. Discovered this by accident one day and love it. So, the smoke up here is probably, it's a crowning point. It's not the best part, but it's pretty good. So you can see that there. Smoker explosions are awesome with this, if you can pull it off. So, anyway, that's been my review. Did a little experimenting, and this was all the Left 4 Dead 2 in-game footage that isn't this, was all done in one take, my first run-through. So, just trying to continue to iterate and try out my videos, try new stuff, as opposed to the 20 separate run-throughs of Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Level 1. Getting that pitch perfect and polished. I ran through Left 4 Dead 2 and really enjoyed the recording I got, and so just kind of left it raw and a little unpolished, unprepared for. But I think it was fun. So if you got any feedback, I would love to hear it. But all this puts us at about 22 bugs in Left 4 Dead 2, mostly in first level of the Sacrifice. 23 if that barrel would have gone through the wall. Actually, I'm going to make it 23, because Francis didn't finish his pulling me up animation, and he pointed his invisible gun at me. So we're going to make it 23. But anyway, I've enjoyed spending time with you guys, and hopefully you've had a good time as well. So I'll catch you later.